Welcome to TNT Outdoors. We got an awesome video for you today. Last year I did a product test review of the DeerCane Black Magic Mineral Site Attractant. And I did that test over the span of about 2 months or so, last year towards the end of summer, just right out to the beginning of the fall. And that product test was pretty interesting. I'll put a link to that video in the description box below if you want to check that out after watching this video. And in that video, I said I was going to keep this site going and test it for at least a full year and do some updates on it. So here we are. I started that test last year on July 24th, 2022. And the day I'm recording this video is August 20th of 2023. So about a year and a month since we first started this site. That's where we're at today. And it's been really interesting seeing what happened with this DeerCane. And why I wanted to do a full year product test is because what I had heard originally about mineral sites is that they're only good during the hot summer months when deer are really craving those extra minerals. And I didn't know if that was true, so I wanted to test it. And so that's what we did. And all I did to put out the DeerCane was just rake off the ground a little bit and expose the dirt. We got a lot of pine needles and stuff like that out here. And so what I did is I just raked it up a little bit, exposing a good area of dirt, and poured out the DeerCane and let it go to work. And every couple months or so, I would come back in here, freshen up the site a little bit by adding a little more DeerCane. And when we started that test a year ago, it took about a week or so for the first deer to find and start coming to the site. I'd just like to note that I wouldn't consider this a powerful attractant per se. In that, I mean, I didn't pour it out and within hours or even one day, a bunch of deer just started hitting the site and tearing it up. Hardly any products like that anyways, I don't care what they say. But as I said before, it took about a week or so for the first deer to find it, and it kind of cumulatively had to increase in the activity around the site itself. And I think it accumulates over time because your deer activity, the trails coming in, the scent the other deer are leaving, is alerting the other deer, hey, there's something over there. I should go check out what they're looking at over there. So the actual deer activity itself contributes to the attraction of the DeerCane. So I wouldn't expect just to pour this DeerCane out and then that night or that weekend even, all these deer are just going to be coming, hitting your mineral site. I don't think that's going to happen. But what I would say is that if you start using DeerCane within a week or two, hopefully you should start seeing some deer activity at the site. And then over time, hopefully that deer activity will kind of cumulatively increase. And then also, I noticed every time I would freshen up the site here, there's about a week or so of a noticeably decreased, kind of a lull in activity at the site, and then it would pick back up again. So that's something to be aware of if you're using this product. Maybe you might see the same thing and plan accordingly, around your hunt schedule. All right, so what did I find for this full year product test review? First of all, this stuff does attract deer, and in my experience on our property, it has worked really well for us all year long, all year. Now, I will say that during December and January, there was a noticeable kind of decrease in activity in and around this site in particular. Now, the deer still were coming in December and January, it just wasn't quite as many and wasn't quite as often. So even with that little decrease or lull in activity for December and January, there still likely were more deer here more often and for longer than there otherwise would have been did we not have this site out. There would have been nothing here for them, to come to or linger for. So the site did still produce results in December and January. It just wasn't quite the activity that we had before December, and then starting back in February, and then increasing up through the spring and summer. So I actually really like this stuff, and I'm going to keep this site going. I don't know, forever maybe. If you've seen some of our other videos, you might remember that I've said we do not have a very high deer population on our property. We really just don't have a lot of deer, and we definitely don't have a lot of big bucks, that come around very often. Usually when we see a bigger buck on a trail cam, they're just passing through. We see it one time, maybe twice, but usually we see that buck just one time on a trail cam, and we don't see him again because they're just passing through. Especially during the rut, we might see them as they're coming through looking for does and such. But we really do not have a lot of regular deer activity, kind of local deer, if you will, especially local bucks that, just hang around our property. Now, we've been doing a lot to try to improve that. We've got a feeding program going on. We're trying to start some micro food plots and such. We're improving the pond over there, better water source kind of in the middle of the property. And of course, this mineral site was one of the other things I wanted to institute to try to see if that would help improve our deer population, the number of deer and, how well we're holding them to the property. And so far, I think this DeerCane has actually been very beneficial, to that goal. We got a set of pretty good regular few does and few fawns that come in over the last year. We got a lot of doe activity here. I want to keep these does coming in. Do you know how much money I'm going to be paying for that in November, early part of December? And this is about as fresh as you're going to get. And it's straight from the source. I mean, seriously, that's like liquid gold falling right there, not too far from where my blind's at over here. We have seen not just more does and fawns, but we've seen an increase in actual buck activity. A lot of small bucks, spike bucks, but we've seen some really nice deer, for our area. These may not look like monsters where you're from, but to us, with the low deer population and just not seeing a lot of bucks, especially larger legal shooting bucks, seeing these deer here, woo, that gets me excited. And a matter of fact, they aren't just passing through anymore. A lot of times these deer are hitting this site multiple times. And you can see these two bucks here. Man, these are nice bucks, especially for our property. I mean, these are nice bucks. And we first started seeing them of August this year at this site. And you can see a couple weeks later, they came back again and they're still coming in. And that's awesome. And I got my feeder, probably not even 100 yards or so from this site itself. And those bucks did not go to the feeder. They came in both times just for this site, and they didn't go anywhere near the corn deer feeder over there. So that tells me that this site has been beneficial to attracting, holding, and just seeing more bucks specifically. So that's exciting. I couldn't be more happier with the product. It's doing what it says. And we've been seeing a lot of activity at the site, not just deer. We've been getting hogs as well. And what I've noticed is the hogs aren't coming in and just totally decimating and tearing up, rooting up this whole site, like they might do with something else. They're coming in, even in packs, and they're nibbling a little bit, getting a little nutrients, and then they're moving on. They aren't totally destroying the site, which is interesting. That's actually awesome. So it's not just deer. We're getting hogs, of course, like raccoons and squirrels and rabbits. We've even seen some turkeys. That's awesome. We don't have a lot of turkeys on this property. We rarely see a turkey. But see a turkey come in, that's pretty cool. Of course, we're getting some predators now. We got bobcat, coyotes, and we're just seeing a lot of different kind of animals, through this site. So we're benefiting not just the deer in the area, we're benefiting all sorts of wildlife with the extra nutrients that this site's providing. So that's pretty amazing in itself. Makes you feel good to kind of give back to the community, to the wildlife community, if you will. Now, as you can see, they have really tore up this site, and there is a noticeable indentation here, where they've been coming in and just cleaning it out on the dirt here. It just amazes me to watch them on the trail cameras. You see the deer, and they actually are. They're just coming down, and it just looks like they're eating the dirt. Like, it amazes me still that they're actually coming in and just eating dirt because I poured this stuff out. It's pretty neat. We had a pretty wet spring this year and got a lot of rain. And because of this, little indentation, this area just completely filled up with water where the site was. I mean, it was inches underwater because they had created basically a small pond where they've been tearing up the dirt here. But you know what? The water did not wash away the DeerCane, and in fact, the deer still came in. They walked right into the water, and they were putting their faces right down in there still to get to those minerals in the rain. They didn't care. They were coming right in, and they were just getting after it. That water did not seem to slow them down even a little bit. And again, the water did not seem to affect the effectiveness of the DeerCane at all. It didn't wash it away. During the rain, they were eating it, and then once it dried up, the deer were still hitting it, seemingly just as hard as they did before. So water did not affect this whatsoever. And in fact, I was actually concerned that it might, so I started another site, right next to this one, kind of where you guys are sitting right there actually. It's the second little area I started, and that too got hit so hard that it created an indentation, and it became a pond as well. So what are you gonna do? But After checking the trail cameras, didn't seem to matter, so I just kept reapplying the DeerCane to the same site here, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep this area going. Now, I originally started the product test review with the DeerCane, the Black Magic Enriched Attractant, and that's what I used for the first few months. This wasn't always in stock, so I would pick up the DeerCane Original a couple times and use it as well. I didn't notice any difference in the activity really whatsoever if I switched from the Black Magic to the Original. And actually the side over there pretty much have been using the Original, right next to here in conjunction with the Black Magic, mostly right here, for the most part. And there doesn't seem to be a real difference as far as activity goes. The deer seem to like both of them, hit both of them just about as hard. So these are both probably pretty equal, pretty comparable to each other as far as the effectiveness. I didn't notice a discernible difference. The original DeerCane liquid is actually kind of a more brownish color than the dark colored Black Magic. And while this does smell sweet, and it smells good, but the Black Magic, it has a much sweeter, more of a molasses, really sweet kind of smell to it. This stuff smells good. So to sum it up, I really like these DeerCane mineral site products. They really did increase the number of deer we're seeing, how long we're seeing them for, and how often we see them. Man, they just keep coming back for more, especially the buck activity. That has increased noticeably. We didn't see a lot of bucks before, just occasionally. Now I got some pretty nice bucks coming regular to my DeerCane. So I really like this stuff, and I'm gonna keep using it. So, that sums it up. I like it. I definitely recommend it. At least try it on your property to see if it works for you as well as it seems to be working for us. I ain't got much more to say except I'm about to put some more of this out. Well, thank you for watching today. I hope you found this video interesting and informative. And if you did like the video, please hit that like button down below. And if you're not already a subscriber and you did like the video, well, I hope you'll consider subscribing. Because if you like this video, you just might like more of our videos too. Well, either way, thanks again for watching this video. Have a great day.